France, it's an awe-inspiring destination for all travelers, especially those on a spiritual journey. It's a country filled with reported sightings of the Virgin Mary and stories of miraculous healings.
The doctors are stupefied.
Around the country where Mary appears, mysterious cures follow. In a little chapel in Paris, pilgrims come in droves to be healed by a miraculous medal. 500 miles away in Lourdes, people flock by the millions to a spring that is said to heal the sick. I'm Flavia Colgan. With a degree in religion and my passion for divine mysteries, I'm traveling through France to explore visions of Mary. From remote sites where Mary reportedly appeared to France's world-famous Marian shrine, join me as I explore these mysterious sightings, the visionaries who saw them, and the healings behind them. Next on Miracle Quest. More than 75 million people come to France every year to experience the country's art, culture, and its famous cuisine. But some come here to satisfy a more spiritual hunger. They come to pay homage to the Virgin Mary and to visit the many sites where she reportedly appeared in person and performed miracles. From Rocamadour, a cliff-hugging village in the southwest of France, to Lyon near the Alps, where locals still celebrate Mary every year with a citywide festival of lights. France is the perfect destination for a miracle quest. I've come to France to investigate visions of the Virgin Mary. In the last 200 years, there have been hundreds of sightings of her all around the country. Are they true apparitions or just hallucinations? And what about all the miraculous healings that seem to happen wherever Mary shows up? Are they really miracles? I thought I'd start my quest right here in Paris. But first I wanted to know how visitors to France define the miraculous. So I headed for Notre Dame. This 13th century Gothic cathedral, located right in the heart of Paris, is dedicated to the Virgin Mary. With more than 12 million visitors passing through its doors each year, it's the most visited landmark in the French capital.
Yes, I believe in miracles. Yes.
You two are miracles.
Of course, the fact of living is a miracle itself.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
You are a miracle.
Well, thank you.
Just being here, coming from a tiny island of Trinidad, I think, is really a miracle. Everything that God gives us is a miracle.
Since most of France's population is Catholic, Mary, as the Mother of God, is often called upon to perform miracles. And aside from Notre Dame, many other churches in Paris are built in honor of the Virgin Mary. But the one I'm headed to commemorates her actual visit nearly 200 years ago. I'm in a very chic neighborhood right in the heart of Paris. It's a short walk from the Seine on the posh left bank, not far from the literary cafes and upscale boutiques of Saint-Germain-des-Prés. Not exactly the type of place you'd expect the Virgin Mary to appear, but she must have great taste because right down there at 140 Rue de Bec, she supposedly appeared to a young sister, Catherine Labouré. The Virgin Mary asked Catherine to make a medal in her honor, and nearly 200 years later, 2 million pilgrims flock to this chapel every year. It's easy to miss, but pilgrims come from around the world to visit this miraculous spot. So what brought you all the way here?
We came on a pilgrimage and we're just checking out France. And I heard about St. Catherine Labouré.
In a city of grand cathedrals, the Chapel of Our Blessed Lady of the Miraculous Medal is a humble house of God. But people visit here because of this 25-cent amulet that many believe to be miraculous. Hi, you guys.
Hi.
Where are you from?
From Sydney.
Sydney, Australia.
Sydney, Australia. Why did you guys come all this way?
We've come to see the miraculous medal and where the Virgin Mary appeared.
Do any of you wear the medal?
Yes.
So let me see yours. Did you believe the medal heals you?
Yes. Just our faith.
It's faith.
It's the faith, not only the medal.
So I notice you have one of the medals on that's really beautiful. Why do you wear it?
I wear it every day because of my devotion to the Blessed Mother.
Did you get one of the medals, the miraculous medals?
I have one, yes.
You do? Do you believe that it can heal?
Of course I do.
You do? Really?
Yes.
Has it ever performed a miracle for you?
Not yet.
Not yet. How can a simple pendant inspire such strong belief? And what exactly happened here to keep people coming back? Sister Margaret of the Sisters of Charity offered to shed some light on this mystery.
We've just passed the front door where Sister Catherine Labouré,
That very door right here.
yes, walked through, and she was called by an angel who said, "The Blessed Mother is waiting for you in this chapel."
On the night of July 18, 1830, an angel awakened Sister Catherine Labouré and led her to the chapel's front door. Inside, the Virgin Mary appeared to be sitting in a chair under a statue of St. Joseph. The 24-year-old nun bounded toward Mary and then fell to her knees, resting her head on Mary's lap. A few months later, the Virgin appeared again.
And during that time, the Blessed Mother requested that Catherine Labouré have a miraculous medal struck. And she described how she wanted the medal.
She designed the medal herself.
Exactly.
Catherine Labouré claimed that rays of light extended from Mary's hands. An oval formed around her, and an inscription appeared in gold letters. Then the image turned to reveal 12 stars representing the 12 apostles.
And an M and cross, which stand for Mary and for Jesus.
Then Mary said to Catherine, "Have a medal made on this model. Those who will wear it with confidence will receive great graces." The Virgin Mary told her specifically what type of medal she wanted.
Exactly.
Made during a virulent cholera outbreak, the medals seemed to protect those who wore them. Reports poured in telling of healings, which occurred while wearing what came to be known as the miraculous medal. As I was checking out the medals, I met Sister Francoise, who dispelled any notion that this is simply a money-making scheme. 10 medals for €2, that's pretty good for miraculous jewelry.
That's why often they ask, have you gold or silver medals? No, never. We never have that because we only want everyone who wants a medal
To be able
can
to
have
afford
a
it.
simple medal.
For nearly 200 years, the miraculous medal has been available to the public. But as I found out, the visionary it appeared to remained very private about her meetings with the Virgin Mary.
Catherine didn't want anyone to know that she saw the Blessed Virgin.
Why is that? Why do you think
Because she was very humble.
I don't know that I could have kept a secret like that. That's pretty extraordinary.
But it's a very great proof, I
Right.
think. You see, very great proof of the medal.
And judging from the crowds at the store, the medal's still working miracles. Why do you think so many people come here to buy the medals?
They believed in the apparition of the Blessed Virgin in the chapel, who asked for the medal, so they take it.
Some locals even make weekly pilgrimages here. How often do you come to the church?
At least twice, 3 times a week.
Oh my, do you have one of the medals?
Yeah. You want to try?
Yes, absolutely. But I was curious to hear about a real miracle. Turns out I'd already met one, the Menezes family from Australia. Has a miracle ever happened to you?
Yes, we have.
Yes.
What kind of miracles?
A miracle here.
Lauren had serious allergies, and her doctors were pessimistic about her condition.
The doctors are stupefied.
No one could explain it.
No, they do not know what is the reason for her to get well. That's why you see her standing here today.
Do you feel a connection with the Virgin Mary?
Yes,
Why is she so special for you?
because she healed me.
But I wondered, how widespread is the belief in the medal's miraculous powers? How many of those medals do you think have been sold?
For billions.
How many miracles do you think they've created?
That I don't know. That's the secret, God's secret.
It's hard to believe the Virgin Mary would design a medal from beyond. And how can a medal cure people? I decided to visit Dr. Mario Varvoglis, director of the International Metapsychic Institute based right here in Paris. Mario and his colleagues investigate and test paranormal phenomena, events that seem to defy the laws of known science. I gotta ask you right out of the box, because I went to the miraculous medal. Can people be healed by a simple physical object like that?
In terms of the miraculous medal, there are two ways of looking at this. One is a form of self-suggestion, and that would be a psychological explanation. There may indeed also be other more parapsychological explanations about what happens.
Like what, for instance?
A kind of a collective consciousness effect. In other words, any individual taking it on, there's their own belief, but there's also somehow a background of collective beliefs, which does add a lot more to the individual's belief, and so could trigger a healing effect.
Basically, people will themselves to be well. But why are some people able to heal themselves and not others? It seems both science and faith are searching in the dark for the same answer, but neither is able to grasp the full story. Yet people continue to report miraculous healings. But what about the visions themselves? Who appears to these visionaries? Is it really the Virgin Mary, or is there another explanation? My quest continues. France is home to hundreds of reported sightings of the Virgin Mary. Could all these sightings be miracles? Around the world, roughly a dozen apparitions have been confirmed by the Church as worthy of belief. 3 of those happened here in France, all in the 1800s. Pontmain, a small village in the Normandy marshes in northwestern France. In January 1871, Mary appears to 4 children. The approaching Prussian army suddenly calls off its attack. Many attribute this to Mary's appearance. To this day, the people of Pontmain continue to celebrate the apparition. 1846 in southeastern France. Outside the town of La Salette, 2 children report seeing the Virgin Mary while tending their cows on the mountains. Sudden healings of villagers follow. Today, pilgrimages to La Salette continue, even though according to some, the vision was a complete hoax.
That virgin was actually a half-crazy nun. I've been seen passing through villages around La Salette.
Well, how do we know that that was the nun the children saw, even though she was in that area?
Oh, we know it because she admitted it. She said, yes, I was there. I was that specific virgin. And the funniest part of that is that during the trial, she was wearing the exact same clothes she was wearing that day in the mountain.
Obviously, some apparitions aren't what they seem, but others aren't so easy to dismiss. I've decided to visit what's probably the world's most famous Marian apparition site, Lourdes. 200 million people have come here on pilgrimage, and I'm hoping my visit can shed some light on these visions. Nestled at the foot of the Pyrenees in the southwest corner of France, Lourdes is France's top pilgrimage destination. Only a few hours from Spain, it welcomes people from around the world. The beautiful landscapes make it a prized destination for travelers, but it's the reports of miraculous apparitions of Mary that attract most visitors.
It's amazing. It just has this presence about it. Like right when we arrived here, something feels different here.
Once a small market town, souvenir shops now line the streets of Lourdes. And when pilgrims arrive, there's no question where to go. A red path winds its way from the town center to the sanctuary grounds and the site of the apparitions. 150 years ago, just down the way in a little grotto, the Virgin Mary reportedly appeared not once, not twice, but 18 times to a local peasant girl, Bernadette Subaru. Soon after, at the site of the visions, miraculous healings were reported. Today, 6 million people make a pilgrimage here every year, and claims of miraculous healings continue. What's behind the apparitions? And could these spontaneous recoveries be real miracles? First stop, the epicenter of Lourdes' fascination, the Grotto of Massabielle on the sanctuary grounds. It's the actual spot where the Virgin Mary appeared to Bernadette.
Today it sits right below the Basilica of the Immaculate Conception, which was built in 1866 to welcome pilgrims to the miraculous spot.
This is the grotto where it all began. People are touching the rock and feeling it. They get to see what she saw.
On a February afternoon in 1858, 14-year-old Bernadette was gathering firewood by the banks of the River Gave when she heard a rustling sound. As she drew closer, a woman appeared from a golden cloud within the rock cave or grotto. Bernadette had no idea what she was witnessing, but so exquisite was the vision that she fell to her knees in prayer. On another visit to the grotto, the vision requested that Bernadette dig in the earth. At that spot, Bernadette uncovered a spring, which today is the grotto sanctuary. Eventually, Mary revealed herself to Bernadette by saying, "I am the Immaculate Conception," meaning born without original sin. No one else ever saw the apparitions, even though hundreds were present during Bernadette's visions. And today, millions continue to believe.
It is the place where Mother Mary appeared. And this is a special place for all the people, for all the Catholics.
You really think that the Virgin Mary appeared to Bernadette here?
Yes.
No, we believe
Yeah,
it.
we believe
You do? No doubt.
No doubt.
Why would the Virgin Mary choose to visit Bernadette, a poor, uneducated peasant girl who had trouble learning her catechism? I wanted to learn more about this young visionary. Father Liam Griffin is an expert on the life of Bernadette.
This is it.
This is a Polly Mill. This is where Bernadette was born. She was born in 1844.
Right.
And the family went deeper and deeper into debt to the extent that they couldn't pay the rent on this place. Therefore, they had to leave.
Eventually, the family ended up living in Le Cachot. It sounds pretty, but it's French for not so nice.
Cachot means a jail room.
Jail room.
It was a disused prison cell. And a disused prison cell which was unfit for human habitation back in the 1850s. You know, it must have been something very dire.
She went from the mill to a prison cell.
Yes.
I thought it was bad at the mill.
So from a background of extreme poverty, Bernadette certainly had little to lose by making up her supposed visions. But it's actually her poverty that provides the best reason for her telling the truth.
When Our Lady revealed her name, Bernadette would not have known what Immaculate Conception meant.
Why?
She probably would never have even heard of the word because, again, of her particular situation, not being educated, not having studied catechism.
The whole idea of the Immaculate Conception had become church dogma only 4 years earlier. An uneducated 14-year-old girl from the provinces could not know official Vatican pronouncements. Or could she?
She described the Virgin in the cave exactly the way the Virgin was described in a religious book written 2 years before the miracles. And the title of the book was The Immaculate Conception.
But Bernadette never tried to profit from her visions, even while she lived a life of destitution.
When they saw this poverty, they wanted to give money, other things, and always Bernadette refused everything. She said, in French, ça me brûle, that burns me, that burns me.
Bernadette took the purity of her vision very seriously, and when Mary told her drink of the spring and bathe in it, she dutifully passed on the message. Today, people continue to believe in the healing power of the water.
Did you guys get any of the water yet?
Yeah. Yes.
Does it work? Does it work?
Yes, we're drinking.
What happened?
Yeah, we're drinking. Any sort of pain or something in your body, your headache or whatever, just put something there, then suddenly it will appear.
Are you taking water home to other people?
Yes.
You are?
But is it really miraculous? Or do people simply will themselves to become well? And how does the church decide if a miracle has truly happened? I'm going to find out when my quest continues. The spring water from Lourdes is known the world over for having healing powers. Pilgrims flock here every year to find a miracle in the pure, clear water. But Lourdes isn't the only natural spring in the area. This region is the source of several famous mineral water springs and thermal spas. But it's hard to compete with the health benefits claimed by millions who've tried the water from the Lourdes Grotto. It's supposedly responsible for 48 of the 67 miraculous healings that have been officially recognized here. So I've decided to check out this water for myself.
I got my bottle, and I'm gonna fill it up with healing water. Well, we'll see if it's healing, but I'm prepared in case it is. Oh, and if it works, I'm coming back for one of these big ones.
There's no doubt the water tastes great, cool and refreshing. But for devout pilgrims who really want a full taste of the water's benefits, the baths are the place to be.
Bonjour, monsieur.
Here, pilgrims are entirely submerged in Lourdes water. It's an experience few of them want to miss. Even if it means braving long lines for the chance to take a dip.
Where are you from?
Sicily.
Have you gone to the baths yet?
I'm waiting online just to doing that.
What are you expecting?
That it's gonna leave me something good inside. It's like a sort of regeneration. That's what all the people say. So I want to do it for the same reason.
So have you been in the bath, the one where you get completely submerged?
I'm actually, we're all heading over there right now to help volunteer and work in there.
Now, are you gonna take a bath too, or you're just gonna help other people get in and out and stuff?
I want to, I really do.
What are you expecting? What do you think's gonna happen?
I'm not expecting anything, just, I guess, to expect the unexpected.
Is this your first time to Lourdes?
No.
You've been here many times before?
Yes, about 28, I think 28.
This is your 28th time coming here?
Yes.
Have you been in the baths before, where you go completely under?
Yes, every time.
What's that like?
Cold.
It's cold.
But you come out of it and you feel really warm, and also you're dry within seconds.
Why do you think that is?
Well, it's miraculous, isn't it?
Judging from the lines of the baths and the fountains, the pilgrims who come here certainly seem to believe it. And even those who can't make the trip can still get their fill. Right here at the sanctuary's water shipment center. Sister Fatima offered to give me a tour of the sanctuary's small-scale operation that's obviously quenching a big spiritual thirst.
And here they fill the bottles.
Who mostly gets them? Like, what part of the world?
United States, but Japan, I think leads Japan, yeah. Here all the containers are placed.
Oh, okay. Illinois, this whole thing.
Thousands request water through the mail, and it's bottled free of charge in containers as small as a quarter liter and as large as 120 liters. But I was curious to know what these people were expecting from their shipments.
Do you think it's the faith that heals people, or is it the water?
You need to believe. Water is just a means, but it all depends on your personal attitude, your inner disposition.
And the church agrees. The water at Lourdes is not holy water, and it contains no special properties. It's actually just normal spring water.
Oh, what's going on here? Is this the guy?
This is the post.
He's picking it up, the stuff?
Yeah, he will be.
Fine, I'm gonna see. Oh, nothing's in there yet. Do you want me to help? I'll take it, yeah. Oh, that's heavy. No, I'm just taking the little ones. Too heavy.
Yeah.
Never mind.
As I helped Sister Fatima load up the next shipment of miraculous water, I wondered if maybe, infused with a big dose of faith, the water could in fact work wonders. But who gives the miracle stamp of approval? And what about the other healings that had nothing to do with the water? I did a bit of digging and discovered that this was the man I needed to speak to.
Comme disait Pascal, dans le miracle, il y a suffisamment de clarté pour ceux qui veulent bien croire et suffisamment d'obscurité pour ceux qui ne veulent pas. Voilà.
I'm about to meet the shrine's very own doctor, Patrick Tillier. It's his job to evaluate the pilgrims who believe they've been healed and separate divine intervention from wishful thinking. I can't wait to find out how he does it.
As Lourdes' resident miracle doctor, Patrick Tillier has a job many colleagues could envy.
What would you say is your greatest challenge in doing your job?
Le côté extraordinaire, c'est que je suis un médecin heureux qui reçoit avant tout des personnes guéries. C'est rare. C'est rare.
But his job is far from easy. In fact, in the last 150 years, there have been close to 7,000 claims of miraculous healings, but only 67 have been officially recognized. Why so few?
It seems the criterion is very, very strict. Is that the reason there's only been 67 cases that have been authenticated as true miraculous healings?
Oui, les critères sont extrêmement restrictifs. Alors, le premier, c'est que la maladie doit être grave.
Also, the person cannot receive any medical treatment that could explain the healing.
Ce qui pose d'énormes problèmes aujourd'hui dans la mesure où tous les malades ont des traitements. Bon.
Tough standards. But I was curious to know what Dr. Tillier, as a scientist and a believer, really thought of the healings of Lourdes.
Je crois, moi, que s'il y a des guérisons ici, c'est cette concentration de pèlerins qui viennent du monde entier à la demande de l'apparition. C'est l'apparition qui a dit « venez ici ». Alors on vient, et ici, il y a un lieu où il se vit une force spirituelle qu'on ne voit pas forcément ailleurs.
I got a taste of this force that very afternoon at the Eucharistic procession the doctor participates in every day. On my way, I bumped into a group of Italians who were also hoping their visit to Lourdes would bring them a miracle.
Do you think while you're here in Lourdes, you're gonna have a miracle? Sí. Yeah. What miracle are you hoping for? To be good, to feel better.
She seems so sincere. And according to the doctor, a lot of the miracles that happen here in Lourdes happen during the Eucharistic procession. So I wish them luck in joining the crowds. I certainly wasn't prepared for the power of this experience.
Thousands of people who most would think should have no hope coming here for a miracle, hoping beyond all hope that they can be healed. The idea of hope, the idea of love, they're just such powerful, powerful messages.
As I found out, it's no easy task to be miraculously healed at Lourdes. The pilgrims know the odds are against them. Still, they come, and healings continue to happen. The question is, who are these people who are led in blind and leave seeing? Who are these people who are pushed here in wheelchairs but walk out on their own 2 feet? And do they believe in miracles? Lourdes is truly a city dedicated to pilgrims. Paris is the only city in France that has more hotels. 67 miracles have officially been recognized at the Lourdes Sanctuary, and the sick come in the tens of thousands from around the world every year, hoping to be cured by the Lourdes water, the source of thousands of claims of miraculous healings. Lourdes even has its very own doctor, Patrick Tillier, who works on the sanctuary grounds at the Medical Bureau, investigating these claims. And he's agreed to let me sit in on a very special appointment.
Dr. Tillier has invited me back to his office today because he's meeting with one of his patients who claims she's been miraculously healed. Could she be number 68? I'm gonna go hear her story.
It seemed Dr. Tillier was running late, so I got started without him.
Ma guérison.
Marguerite.
Alors, 54.
She was blind and
deaf?
Yeah.
You couldn't hear?
No.
This sweet, energetic French woman also suffered from a severe nervous system condition that has no known cure. It had paralyzed her right leg. Then, on a visit to Lourdes in 1953, she suddenly regained the ability to walk. A year later, she visited Lourdes again. Both her sight and hearing returned. This is definitely miracle material.
Doctor, did you hear this? She should be number 68.
No,
59.
59
59 what?
59.
She's
Oh, she's already one of the miracles?
Yes.
Oh, so this is not who I came to see.
No.
But you are
I
very
got
lucky.
I got lucky.
You're lucky.
I'd been sitting right next to a living miracle. Marie Bigo's cure was the 59th at Lourdes. Since then, she returns every year to help other pilgrims and to visit the doctor. Well, so who am I here to meet, though?
Ouais, il faut qu'on voit Linda.
Oh, this is who I'm here to meet. Oh, it's nice to meet you. Linda de Plazaula suffered from severe neck pain for years, the result of a car accident. She came to Lourdes in 2004 during a visit by Pope John Paul II.
When the Pope said, Je vous bénis tous.
God bless you.
Yeah, God
Okay.
bless you.
God bless you.
I felt something strange, like, I was like this.
Like an earthquake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, what is happening? But I didn't feel anything in my neck. So after I put some water here on my neck.
From the
Yeah,
Lourdes
yeah.
water? From the grotto?
And when I wake up in the morning, I said, oh, good night, not pain. I said, oh, it's a miracle. I look my husband and I say, look, baby, look, I can do it.
And you could never do this before?
No.
No, you could only go a little bit
I
like
was
this.
like this.
But how did you know it wasn't adrenaline?
No, because adrenaline came after. After I realized I am cured, you know? But I don't know why me.
Why do you think God picked your mom to heal her?
C'est un mystère. C'est un mystère. It's a mystery.
As mysterious and as wonderful as Linda's sudden healing is, it probably won't be verified as miraculous by the church. As Dr. Tillier explained, her condition isn't serious enough for the cure to merit becoming the 68th miracle at Lourdes. As evening fell on Lourdes, I headed for the nightly candlelight procession held in honor of Mary. I'd heard about how beautiful it was, and I didn't want to miss it. And I was also wondering if pilgrims experienced more than just physical healings here. Now, why have you come so many times here?
I think it's a wonderful place. It's a great atmosphere.
Yeah.
I think it's very good for your faith. You know, it's not like anywhere else.
Of all the places in the world, what makes Lourdes so special?
For us, Lord is everything, because we believe that Mother Mary helps quite a lot of us, especially if we pray to Jesus our Lord. We always go through Mother Mary.
I think it's just beautiful. Just being here. If you're not a believer, just being here makes you believe.
It's a very emotional night, isn't it? Maybe the energy of Lourdes combined with all these believers is what makes miracles happen. It's amazing it's so dark right now. I can't really see people, so there's people from all over the world, people that are sick, people that are well, people that are young, that are old, but all you can see is there are candles held up in the air. Everyone just looks the same. All you can see is rows and rows and thousands of lit candles and beautiful voices all mixing together. An hour later, the procession was over, but it left me with a very powerful feeling. Something my dad always used to tell me just kept coming through in my head, which was that all the darkness in the world can't extinguish the light of one candle. As I said goodbye to the sanctuary, I thought about Bernadette's visions. Real or imagined, the result was undeniable. Millions continued to come here, hoping for miracles or looking for solace. But what became of the famous visionary? I'd heard her body was still somehow miraculously preserved more than 400 miles away in the town of Nevers. How could a body remain intact for that long? It was time to get back on the road. Very few of the millions who come to Lourdes know what became of the girl who put it on the map. even fewer know that Lourdes is not her final resting place. 8 years after seeing Mary in the grotto, Bernadette Soubirous left Lourdes to escape her growing celebrity. I've decided to follow in her tracks. I'm headed 425 miles north, quite a distance in 1866, and a good day's drive today. Located in the Burgundy region of France, amid the ornate castles of the famous Loire Valley, the town of Nevers was Bernadette's home for the last 13 years of her life. Today, Nevers is home to the Ducal Palace, one of the first chateaux of the Loire Valley. It also boasts some charming homes dating back to the 14th century. But for religious travelers, it's the convent of St. Gildard that's a must-see. On these grounds rests the body of the famous visionary who became a saint in 1933.
Bernadette came to the convent of St. Gildard and lived the life of a cloistered nun. She later died here in 1879. 30 years after her death, the local bishop had her body unearthed. When the doctors opened the casket, it was perfectly preserved. Even though she'd been in the grave for 3 decades, it was as if she had just fallen asleep. Well over a century later, her body is still unchanged. Why hasn't it decomposed? Is it a miracle? That's why I came to Nevers, so I could see Bernadette's body for myself.
Sister Denise of the Sisters of Charity offered to show me the way to Bernadette's casket.
She's short, huh?
Yes, very tall.
Very short.
Very short.
I'm a lot taller than her.
Yes.
She doesn't look that real, though. I was expecting it to look exactly like a body. It looks like wax or something.
Wax, a little wax on the face and on the hand.
Why did they take her out of the ground in the first place?
It is necessary during the process of canonization to recognize the body of Bernadette.
Oh, to ID her, to make sure that that was Bernadette. When they took her out of the ground, she looked just like that?
Yes.
I don't really believe that she's uncorruptible. I think maybe something happened, I don't know.
Bernadette's waxy complexion definitely doesn't make a believer out of me. But this mystery is more than just skin deep.
When they took her out of the ground, did her body smell at all?
No, no.
It didn't smell?
No.
Where was she buried?
In a little chapel in the garden.
Is it dry or is it wet? Like what? Wet?
The clothes are wet.
And she was perfect?
Yes.
Bodies decay a lot faster in humid environments, and they usually smell when they're taken out of the ground. But the doctor's exhumation reports specifically noted that there was no smell and minimal decay.
But when they took her out, maybe they put preservatives?
No.
No? They didn't?
No.
But they took her out more than once, right? How many times did they take her out?
The first time is in 1909.
Her body was exhumed again 10 years later in 1919. It had turned slightly black because of the carbon in the coffin, but again, the doctors were astounded by the minimal decay and lack of smell. But the third and final exhumation 6 years later left one of the doctors puzzled. 46 years after her death, Bernadette's liver was soft and almost normal in consistency, not a natural phenomenon.
Do you think this is a miracle?
No, I don't think.
You don't think it's a miracle?
No, but it's a question.
It's a question. Well, it's a big question.
Like Sister Denise, the Catholic Church doesn't view incorruptibility as miraculous because it can so often be explained naturally. Personally, I really want to get to the bottom of the mystery of Bernadette's incorruptible body, even if the Church doesn't recognize it as a miracle. So I've decided to head back to Paris to find out how a body could be perfectly preserved for so long. Are there explanations even the Church hasn't considered?
It could be that people that have been meditating their whole lives or that have been morally impeccable, they have created a certain rapport with their own body that is close to miraculous for the rest of us because we're so far from that. What is the relationship between consciousness, the psyche, and this material body that we have? Could it be that there's more mystery to that relationship than we acknowledge?
Bernadette's incorruptible body, the healings of Lourdes, and all of these visions of Mary are still a mystery to me, but I still have one last stop on my quest, to pay homage to a special visionary whose visions changed the future of France. I'm back in Paris. Familiar landmarks commemorate moments from its vast history. And as I return to the starting place of my quest, I'm still wondering, why did Mary appear so often in France? Is it something about the French? Some pilgrims I'd met seemed to think so.
Must be some sort of particular pull that she has here.
Right.
I just thought the same thing on the plane coming here. Thinking, how come? Hasn't she come to Australia?
Well, I'll tell you why. Because sometimes mums, they know that this child is more attentive. So maybe the French are listening.
And like a good mother, she looks out for her children.
The Blessed Mother is concerned, and when kids are having problems in one place, she intervenes.
Right. Could France's history have played a part in all the reported sightings? Father de la Tissonnière, an authority on Mary, offered an interesting perspective.
The 1800s in France are a very special period for the story of our country because of the French Revolution.
The French Revolution of 1789 brought about the separation of church and state, and it marked a period of fear for many Catholics.
They were thinking, oh, that's the end of the church, the end of the faith.
Did people will Mary to appear? Maybe miracles and faith push us beyond what we think our limits are. That's why I'm headed back to the beautiful Cathedral of Notre Dame. But I'm going there for someone other than Mary. Joan of Arc, another visionary who changed the fate of France.
I've always been so taken with Joan of Arc. Just amazing. That image of strength and power and grace.
Joan of Arc said she heard voices that told her to lead the French army against the English, which she did, achieving several astonishing victories. As if that weren't enough, 2 miraculous healings are attributed to her as well. But when she was finally captured, a jury found her guilty of being a heretic for having claimed to hear the voice of God. Even though she saved her country, her punishment was death. She was burned alive at the stake. Nearly 500 years later, in this very cathedral, the church decided they'd been wrong, and they sainted her in 1920.
Isn't it interesting? She went from being a heretic and a witch to a saint. Guided by voices, Joan of Arc led the charge to liberate her country. 500 years later, she's still one of France's most revered heroines. Were the voices and visions messages from God? Who knows? But had she not listened to them, the future of France might have been very different.
And the visions witnessed by Bernadette Soubirous and Catherine Labouré also changed the lives of pilgrims around the world. So maybe, sometimes, the miracle is in what you do with it.
My quest for miracles has led me from Paris to the Pyrenees and back. And I'm still not sure whether all these visions and healings are signs of the divine or things science can't explain. What I do know is that these extraordinary events have left an amazing impression on the minds and perhaps most importantly, the hearts of millions.
Even the Pope asked to see the person who saw the Blessed Virgin and asked for this medal.
Right.
But she said, no, the Blessed Virgin asked it, but I will not tell.
Well, that's very unique. I think if I saw the Blessed Mother...
You would have said.
How do we know it wasn't just her imagination?
That was the question people asked because of her particular situation in society at the time. She was living in absolute destitution. She was uneducated, and in that way, people probably thought that she was looking for attention.
Or just wanted to create a nicer life for herself and say, you know, this nice lady's visiting me since my life's not so great.
Yeah, that certainly would have been the thinking. I mean, thinking of those days hasn't changed to today.
So then once she said the Immaculate Conception, that's what the Virgin Mary had told her, did everyone believe her or just some people?
At that stage, she went straight to the parish priest.
Okay.
She ran from the grotto right up the road to where the parish priest was living in the...
Oh, right from where she said it, she just went right there.
And she kept repeating it to herself all the way up.
So she wouldn't forget?
Yeah. And in that way, when she burst into the parish priest saying, I am the Immaculate Conception, when the priest said, what are you talking about? That's what she called herself. And with that then, the priest started thinking, you know, this must be the Blessed Virgin.
It seems nearly impossible to prove the validity of Bernadette's claims. It was over a century ago, after all. For Father René Laurentin, who has written on visionaries around the world, Bernadette's integrity is a sign of her authenticity. Second, it must be a known disease. Third, the disease must be physical, not psychological or mental. Fifth, the healing must be sudden and instantaneous. Sixth, it can't be just a relief of the symptoms.
Et septièmement, pas simplement une rémission, mais une guérison, c'est-à-dire quelque chose qui dure. Une vraie guérison pour la vie.
And after Dr. Tillier gives his okay, there's a review of each claim by an international medical committee founded in 1947. Finally, the bishop from the person's hometown decides if there is a miracle. But if that sounds harsh, just consider number 66. It's a hard act to follow. Jean-Pierre Belly had advanced stage multiple sclerosis, which confined him to a wheelchair. But on a pilgrimage to Lourdes in 1987, he regained the use of his legs. The church recognized his healing as miraculous, but could there be an explanation other than divine intervention?
Much disease can be psychosomatic, and when we get up the courage and we decide that we want to be rid of it, we trigger extraordinary psychosomatic healing. A second explanation is that the collective expectation of all those people, hundreds of thousands of millions of people who know about Lourdes, gives a certain mental persuasiveness to that place.
Maybe Mario was right. The miracle for Sister Denise and many pilgrims who come here is Bernadette herself and the exemplary life she led. Even though the sisters were not always kind to the sickly peasant girl from Lourdes who claimed she'd seen the Virgin Mary.
Bernadette seemed like she was so sweet, and you said that all the nuns knew that she had seen the Virgin Mary. So how come all the nuns were not that nice to her?
The sister say we are happy to see the person who see the Virgin in Lourdes. But also, I don't know if all the sisters believe Bernadette.
But Bernadette's belief in her miracle never wavered. As we headed to her favorite spot in the garden, Sister Denise explained Bernadette was willing to give up her life to experience that miracle again.
She looks so beautiful, the statue, the Virgin right there.
Yes, and Bernadette say, she is so beautiful, I am dying to see her again.
I'm dying to see her again.
Yes.
Literally, she wants to die to see her?
She hoped to see again when she died.
I would avoid the generalization of saying, if somebody sees a vision, it's because they really needed that vision in their life. It's all possibilities in between.
But would you ever explain these paranormal experiences as being done by God?
There's nothing more to do once you postulate that God decided it was that way.
Right.
There's no more.
Basically, you'd be out of business, is what you're saying.
Well, I think science would be out of business.
But are science and religion really so at odds? I remember Dr. Tillier didn't seem to think so.
Moi, je suis à la fois scientifique et à la fois croyant. Il faut que je tienne les deux, sans les confondre. Moi, je dis finalement, on connaît beaucoup de choses, mais on ne connaît pas tout. On ne pourra pas reproduire les miracles. Mais on peut essayer de l'approcher le plus possible.
Maybe miracles set a benchmark for what is possible.